So, for a while, we
Yeah.
all got caught up on, having people come to us. And
Yes.
content is king, and you know what? And it worked for a while.
It did?
And then
Very well.
And then it
stopped.
stopped.
Yeah.
Right? So now it's time for the next iteration of what that looks like.
Like all things in marketing, or all of these techniques, right? They stop after a while.
Can you unpack that a little bit? Like, I want to get into the tactics of like what is the next wave of this? Like, talk to the whatever. There's 70 sales reps at Drift, or however many people that, or thousands of people that are going to watch this. Like, how do you actually go and do that? Because I think there's a lot of, I think the narrative of like sales is harder, you have to be personal, engagement is important. Like, I think everybody agrees with that, but I haven't seen a lot of people get into like the how. So like, how the companies you work with, the people you advise, like how do they actually, what is a good example of how somebody goes and does this?
So here's the interesting thing. There's no one way, right? So one of the things that I say to people all the time is, look, if I knew the right answer for every company out there, obviously I would be on my yacht.
Yes.
And I'm not, right? I'm not on the yacht.
Not on the yacht.
Not on the yacht.
Right?
You
So
don't, yeah.
I think here's the thing you need to figure out. You have to figure out your strategy, right? We get so caught up in execution, we forget to constantly go back and reevaluate our strategy. And I think that's a critical success factor. Like, where are you in the technology adoption life cycle? Are you selling to innovators and early adopters? Are you selling into the commodity space? Are you selling to the Lego space? Jeffrey Moore's book is as valid today as it ever was.
Oh, totally.
Like, so where are you
I
there?
reread it.
What's your brand and name recognition? What level of the organization do you sell into? What's your average deal size? Like, if you're selling to someone in DevOps, your strategy is going to be totally different than if you're selling to the C-suite. So everything flows from the strategy. And what I see companies do is develop a strategy, go into execution mode, and never look in the rearview mirror to make sure that the strategy is right. Strategy needs to iterate as much as your message and your method.
Yes. What I love about what you're saying, what we're talking about here is like we talk about it's all kind of the same in some ways. It's like all of the principles are basic, right? We shouldn't be confused, right? People, relationships, how to sell, how to provide value, how to analyze, that stuff's basic, but we confuse ourselves all the time because we're chasing tactics and tricks and this and that, and then we're like, why isn't it working? It's like, because we skipped the basics.
Right.
We skip the basics every single time, and it's like we didn't deliver any value. Right? We didn't focus on the customer. We didn't look at what we were doing and understand the strategy behind it. We didn't do any of these things, and it's actually basic stuff, but nobody wants the basic answer because it's hard and it takes time. They want the easy answer.
Well, the other thing is we're measured on activity.
Yes.
Ooh, we're so busy.
Yeah.
So busy. So
Yeah.
I think if you're measured on impact more than activity, I mean at the executive leadership level most especially, that, it makes a profound difference in your go-to-market strategy.
So how do you think about it? How do you think about technology then? Like, if it is just about people, how do you go out and help advise companies about what stuff they should put into play?
So first of all, I love tech. That's a problem. It's a big problem in my budget.
Yes.
Yes, it is a big budgetary issue for me. But so here's how we say to think about it. Once again, everything flows down from the strategy. So if I go to someone and I'll say, what are you doing for this particular problem? And they say, oh, I bought.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, but what's your strategy? They go, I bought.
Yeah.
Right.
It's all done now.
Yep, so that's my silver bullet, and that's gonna fix it. So what we say to people is, you need a couple basic strategies to start, right? You need a fabulous CRM, you need, that's table stakes, and then you need a couple other building blocks depending on what you're trying to accomplish. But what you have to do is figure out what supports the strategy, figure out what you need, buy it, implement it, iterate on it, get successful, then think about the next thing. SDRs have, what did I hear yesterday? They're using like 5.2 tools a day or something crazy. Well, how do you do that effectively? Like, how do they all tie together? And that's why they need 2 screens now, right? 2 monitors, because they're like, right.
Go back and forth.
And then they're so busy that they're not having like conversations with their buyers because they're so busy looking at stuff that they're not engaged on, mano y mano. So
it's easier to look at stuff than actually deal with it.
someone.
Yeah, talk to someone.